my sourdough hot cross Easter buns recipe. I don't know if you can see that, but that's what we're making. And I tweaked this slightly from Ellie's Everyday Whole Grain Sourdough Recipe YouTube channel, actually. There's my dog. Anyhow, what we're going to start out with is 1 egg. It's at room temperature. I have a 1 cup little prep bowl, glass bowl, and I have a 1/2 cup of, this is a combined mixture of dried fruit, but you can use any kind of dried fruit. I am using raisins. You can use, and I have Craisins in here and cherries, but you can also use Sultanas, which is another word for golden raisins. You can use all of one kind or a combination of different kinds, but this is what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to try to switch my camera and see if I can do a shot from overhead. And okay, well, I guess I can't do a shot from overhead, so I have to figure this out. Okay, part 2, I suppose. What I'm going to do to my dried fruit is I'm just going to chop them. So, chop, chop, chop. These are really dry, on the dry side, so they'll really benefit from a soak in the egg and vanilla extract mixture. So I'm just going to chop, chop, chop. This is a big cherry. Okay, I'm going to just keep chopping these, and I'm going to put it on pause. Okay, back. I have finally chopped my dried fruit. As you can tell, it's very, very fine. A little on there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to scooch that aside. I'm going to take my egg. I'm going to crack it in here. And to this, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I like to give it a good shake because a lot of times there's a lot of sediment that settles at the bottom, and I like all that nice rich flavor of vanilla getting into my egg. And then to this, I am going to add a little extra flavoring. So this is about 1/4 teaspoon. I don't really want too full, probably just scant of 1/4 teaspoon. This is orange extract. I remember this is upside down. Just because I like the little bit of orange with the cranberry. And then this is some that I'm extracting. This is now 2 months old. This is, oops, vanilla extract. This is a vodka and bourbon combo. As you can tell, I have a lot of vanilla beans in there. Let's see, can you see them? Yep. Anyhow, I'm going to give this a good shake. It's not full strength like I want it to be, but hey, it'll work because it's going to bring some bourbon notes in there. And I think I'm going to go about, oh, maybe I should do a little bit more. I'm going to go with a 1/2 teaspoon. So I've got about 1 3/4 teaspoons total of extracts in here. And there we go. And I'm going to put the flip top back on here. Put this back. And then I'm going to take a little fork here. I'm going to break my yolk. And I'm going to give this a good whipping. Till everything's combined. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now to this, I'm going to add my fruit, my dried fruit. Raisins are the best at absorbing a lot of the flavors of your extracts. Your Sultanas or golden raisins are probably the next ones. The Craisins, the dried cranberries, will absorb some, and so will the cherry, but not quite as much as your raisins, just straight up raisins. So, putting those all in there. Again, I said this is a 1 cup measuring bowl, which I find is plenty big enough, and that should be good. I'm going to take my fork and I'm just going to thoroughly coat all of this dried fruit with the raisin extract mixture. Okay? Just till it's really, really thoroughly coated. You see all that? I don't know, can you tell? Okay. Yeah, that looks pretty darn good. Now, I'm going to get me a lid, because this is going to sit out for about a bit, so I'm just going to put a lid on it and let it sit. Let's see. If I tilt this up, can you see it? Yeah. Okay. Alright, I'm going to pause it and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I've got my buttermilk here. Let's see if you can see. Right here. It's about a quart. It is a quart. I like to use organic. Anyhow, turn my scale on, tear it out. I don't know if you can tell that. Well, it's probably upside down for you. Does that work? No, not really. Oh well. Okay, so I'm going to put my measuring cup. I need 320 grams of buttermilk, and by the way, I'm going to give this a good shake before I pour it. And so I'm going to need, this is about 1 1/3 cup, by the way. So if you're measuring by cups, which I guess is perfectly okay. Oops, did I go over? Oh dear. I need 320, and I think I went over. I did. Hold on, let me pour some back. 324, 320.5, good enough for me. Okay, and now I'm going to go, since I'm kind of delayed, I could keep this out at room temperature for several hours, the one I just poured out, but I'm going to try to hasten this along, and I'm going to go microwave this to where it's just a little bit above probably room temperature. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. Now it's time to make up the seasoning mix, which consists of a 1/2 to 3/4 teaspoon of dried or fresh orange zest. I like fresh, so that's what I'm going with. And I have this little microplaner here. You can use the fine setting if you have one of those stand different graters. Use the finest one there. Anyhow, I just find this works the best, but use what you have on hand. Here is an orange I got from my neighbor's tree. Had to do a little bit too much water, but the zest is still good. So I'm going to use the zest, and I'm going to just go ahead and start grating this. You want to make sure you don't get down to that pith like I just did. And just keep going, working your way around. And anyhow, I'm going to just continue to grate this, and then I'll see you back in a few. Okay, so I'm done grating. I'm going to take a measurement of what I grated from this rather small orange. It doesn't take a big orange to really amount to what the amount you need, and it looks like I've got way more than a teaspoon. So what I might just do is I'll try to compact it just a little, slightly, tamper it down. Just so it falls right below the 3/4 mark or below the 1 teaspoon. And the rest, I think I'll just put that aside and maybe make a little infused orange drink. I'll be right back. Now to this I'm going to add a teaspoon of cinnamon. If you like a lot of cinnamon, you can go a little rounded. A teaspoon, that I'm calling it good. There's a teaspoon of cinnamon and ginger. Take the lid off of this. And I need a 1/4 teaspoon of ginger. That's 1/4 teaspoon. And then I'm going to need an 1/8. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grab my 1/8 teaspoon measurement. Ta-da! I have my 1/8, and so I need an 1/8 teaspoon of nutmeg. So I have nutmeg here. I have whole nutmegs that I like to grind up myself, and I just use this canister as a old container, refill container. Okay, that looks good. There's my 1/8 of nutmeg. And then I need, well, it says you can do an 1/8 of cloves, cardamom, and allspice. If you don't have like cardamom on hand, that's okay. Allspice, that's okay if you don't have it. But cloves, yeah, I would definitely recommend that. So here's some cloves. Gonna go an 1/8. Gotta go careful with the cloves. Cloves are very strong, very pungent. I'm gonna go, here's my cardamom. I love adding these to just all kinds of dish, like cookies and whatnot. So here's, just has that little nice underscore of flavor. But here's my cardamom. I'm gonna throw that in there. And last but not least, my allspice. And again, if you don't have cardamom or allspice, that's fine. You're fine. Yeah, there's my allspice. There we go. Now, what I'm gonna do, well, I'm just gonna give this a good stir around here. Just kind of so it's all coated. All right, I'm gonna go measure out some my flour, which it's 100 grams of whole wheat flour and 300 grams of bread flour. So if you have an all-purpose flour that's around 12 to 13% gluten, you can use that instead. Wheat Montana isn't all-purpose flour is an example of that type of higher gluten flour. So have that plus 50 grams of the bread flour set aside in case you need to add that if your mixture is just a little too wet. But we're just going to go with 100 grams of whole wheat and 300 grams of bread flour. So I will see you right back here. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to have these all measured out for you. Okay. Okay, I'm back. I have my bread flour and whole wheat flour mixed, or measured out already, haven't mixed it. And to that I'm going to add, oops, wrong one. There it is. My spice and orange zest mixture. By the way, if you don't have some of these spices, what I would recommend is if you have like a pumpkin pie spice would be really good. Just make sure you don't exceed, what is it? About 1.5 teaspoons of that. And then I would add just about maybe a 1/2 teaspoon or so of cinnamon, just so it brings up the cinnamon profile a little bit more. And maybe just a little bit more of ginger. But anyhow, so to this I'm going to add my spice and the Orange Zest mixture. So there we go. And I'm just going to take my fork, kind of give it a good whisking around, make sure it's good and coated. Now, one thing I have found out that the spices like cinnamon tend to slow down fermentation a bit, so just keep that in mind. It's not going to be like your basic sourdough bread recipe. Okay, I think this is pretty much incorporated, and we are good to go. Alright, to this, I am going to add my slightly warmed up buttermilk, which is right here. It's just a little bit above. It's almost like tepid buttermilk. So to this, I will add to the flour and spice mixture. And good golly, I should go get a scraper for that. Okay, I have a scraper just because I like every little last drop of my yummy buttermilk. And I'm just going to kind of give that a stir. And I'm just gonna, you know, if I had a, well, I could, if I had thought about it, I could have used my Danish dough whisk too, which would have been just fine. Here, let me show you what a Danish dough whisk looks like. Boy, if I would have thought about it, would have been even better. You can do this in your stand mixer, and I will eventually start to use my stand mixer, especially when it comes to the point where you're starting to add your starter and salt and what do you call it, the soaked fruit and egg mixture. But anyhow, I'm gonna mix this. Just want to make sure that as you're mixing, you're getting all that dried amounts of flour in there. You do want to prepare your tools for your stand mixer in about an hour. Let's see, this is kind of still wet in some parts. So just learning as we go. I'm always learning new things as I do my recipes, even recipes I've done for years. I'm still learning new things, new variables, like how warm your kitchen is, how dry your humidity is, or how moist your humidity is. That will affect your absorption rate of your flour. I have some bran particles down there that need to be mopped up from the whole wheat. See how easy that is? Again, I mean, you can use your scraper slash spatula, your silicone spatula, and see how now it's formed this nice shaggy raggy dough, and that's okay. It's not sticky, but you think, oh my gosh, it's not gonna, the gluten isn't gonna form. It will. And mine's just slightly warm, which is good. Very, very good. And I am going to let that sit. In fact, you know what I like to do sometimes? If I have a little extra, I get in there, just mop up that yumminess. And I'm going to just kind of do a little bit of folding over. And now I'm going to let this autolyse for an hour, which just means it's dehydrated, and which will help to break down the gluten strands. So we'll meet you back here in about an hour. Of course, I'm just going to pause this, and then by way of TV magic, so to speak, it'll be back within just like a split second. All right, catch you in a few. Forgot to mention, don't forget to cover it. Yeah, I just have this, it's a nice little Norwex lid. I love it because it kind of creates this little suction on it. But if you don't have one of these nifty difty handy dandy things, you can put, oh my, there's different covers you can put. You can, if you have an old like disposable shower cap, watch this, you can do that. Bada bing, bada boom, it's covered. You can kind of peek down what's going on. You can also, you can use a large plate. So, let me show you here. So this is just a plastic plate. You can just set that down over, or however it fits. And anyhow, you just want it covered. Or you just use plain old cellophane. Okay, this time I really mean it. I'll catch you in an hour. Okay, you still waiting around for the end of the oddities portion? Well, so am I. I got about a half hour left to go, but I thought I'd jump in here and remind you to start measuring out your next series of ingredients that you need to add to your oddities dough mixture. So make sure you've got 100 grams. This is a stiff starter. It's 100% hydration, equal amounts of flour to water, and which I use a rye flour. I also use a half rye, half whole wheat mixture for my starter. This one has gone a little bit long, so it's gotten kind of hoochie, and I added a little bit some of the fresher starter here, but it's still good. It just means it's super hooper duper hungry, and it'll just go right through that dough, the bulk fermentation part of the dough. So I've measured out my 50 grams of, which is about a quarter cup of brown sugar, give or take a few grams. I mean, if you get 55, 60, whatever. But make sure you pack it down. That's brown sugar. You can use regular, I would use like unbleached regular sugar. If you don't have brown sugar around, might produce a little bit lighter of a bun, but I just like the richer flavor of the molasses that you get from the brown sugar. So anyhow, and then to that, I'm going to add, I'll turn this on. Oh, you guys are, this is backwards for you. Let's see, that zeroed out. Can't tell, nope. Okay, that's teared out there. This is just a little measuring cup here. And I'm going to put, I need a teaspoon of salt, sea salt. This is a mixture blend I make up. It's got the Utah Redmond's salt, sea salt, some Himalayan pink salt, and the Celtic gray salt. And I just take it, I have a separate cup in my KitchenAid coffee grinder. I have a separate little mixing cup, and I mix those three together, and I just make this super, super fine salt combo. You can have just regular sea salt. If that's all you have, that's fine. I just don't care to use the iodized table salt. This has a lot of minerals, so I just like to add that as a bonus to my recipes. So without further ado, I'm going to measure out, this is about, let's see, let's see what I'm going to get. That is 5. Let's go just tap a little bit more. It's 5.5. Oop, there's 6. Okay, and that's it. So set these aside, and you are, well, yeah, and also I have the soaked, can you see that? The soaked fruit and egg and extract mixture waiting on the side. So these 4 items will be added to this when I meet you back here in about 26 minutes. Which of course it'll just be like a second for you. Okay, I'm back. Here it is after an hour of autolyzing, and it's nice and supple. The odor is really, really nice. It's got a really nice scent. And hold on. Should have this ready already. But I am going to, this here, I'm going to add my soaked fruit and extract egg mixture. And then to that, I'm going to add my 100 grams of starter. Okay. That looks good. And then I have my 50 grams or so of brown sugar. And my 6 grams of sea salt. And now I'm going to take this, I'm just going to wipe this extra starter and whatnot on the side. I'm going to bring this over here. And hopefully you'll be able to see this. Okay, and I'm going to put my dough hook on. I'm going to crank up and away we go. Pop this on I'll put it up around 2, maybe 3. And I think it might need some coaxing. So let me turn this and swing that down. Yeah, I think I need some little bit of coaxing here. The scent is so yummy. Okay. Let's give this another go. Oops, there were 3. And we'll see how this goes. Okay, this is going to take a little bit, and we'll do this for about 8 to 10 minutes, and I'll meet you back here in a few. Okay, it wasn't combining very well, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do some like folding over to incorporate more of this wet mixture in. Reminds me I need to pause my 10-minute timer here. You can hear my wind chimes outside. Okay. I just want to really try to work that in. Just push it in. Now, depending on how this comes together, I may have to add that extra 50 grams of bread flour. Okay, let's give this a go. Okay, with my stand mixer. Bring that up to 3. Oops. There's 3. Yeah, I think I might have to add the 50 grams. Be right back. Okay, so I'm going to add the 50 grams of flour. See if that's going to help it any. Yeah, that seems to be helping. There's my 50 grams. That's what I needed. Okay, I'm going to start my timer back up again. And I'll meet you back on the flip side of 8 minutes left. Okay. I have had to add, let's see, 65 more grams on top of the extra 50, so 115 grams more of bread flour, just because it wasn't coming together. It was way too wet and sticky. And this is kind of what you want. You want to look for it to start to clean the sides of your bowl. And I've had to go probably another 5 or so minutes of kneading. Yeah, so let's have a check. Okay, it's still on the tacky side. I'm gonna write this down here. It really needs to clean the sides of the bowl and get to what they call a supple. I might have to add a little bit more flour because it's still on the tacky side. Alright, meet you back in a few. Okay, we are back. I had to end up adding an extra 125 grams of bread flour because it just was too wet. So I'm going to make a little adjustments to my recipe, but that's okay. This is a learning experience. Like I said, every time I make a recipe, I'm still learning things. So anyhow, I'm going to show you what we got. Take my dough hook off. Wipe down all the dough off the hook. And I'm going to show you what we have here. Let me see. Let me scooch this over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to test for a window pane. If you've never done that before, it's basically you're going to stretch it between, take a portion of your dough, stretch it between your hands, and look up into a light and see if you can kind of see through it like you can with the webbing between your fingers. So let me pinch a little piece off here. And it looks like it's really stretching nice here already. So let's break this off. And I'm going to do a good stretch here. It's got some good structure going on. If it breaks on the outskirts, that's fine, but it's the center that you really want. I don't know if you can really tell. Here, let me see if I can get this. I don't know, can you see? You see my shadow there? Right there? Yeah. That's a good window pane. Okay, so we're going to put that back in, put the camera back down. There we go. And I am going to just gather this together. Try to form somewhat of a ball shape here. It's a good supple dough. And it is pretty strong because it's not tearing the fruit's not tearing through the gluten strands. So with that, I'm going to put a cover back on it, and this is going to bulk ferment for about, oh, I don't know, 12 to 18 hours until it about doubles in size. So take a look at what it's right now, and I would assume maybe coming up to about here. and then we'll be ready to form them into dough. Right now it's about 420, and so I would estimate by tomorrow morning this will be ready to form into dough, and then I'm going to show you how to do that, and then those are going to proof further, a second proving, probably another 2-3 hours depending on the warmth of your kitchen. And I'll show you what to do next on the next portion of this video. So that's it for now. Shoot me any questions if you have any. All right, love y'all. Bye. Okay, so this is the next morning, and I want to show you what I did in order to speed up the bulk rise and increase the volume of your rolls. I read a gal's vlog, and she said to do some stretch and fold, so that's what I did, and I'll just show you what that means. I just wet my hands a little bit here with some water, and I'm just going to grab it here, and I'm just going to stretch it and fold it over, stretch it and fold it over just a couple times. And I've noticed, though, since I've made my last batch of this, it really does, that little tip really does help. So, and this is really looking nice. That's nice supple dough. I'm going to be separating this into 12 buns shortly, so I'll catch you back here in a few. Okay, I'm back. It's time to divide this up into 12 equal dough balls. So what I'm going to do is take out my dough, turn my unit on, oh, turning the wrong one because it's upside down. Okay, let's tear this out. Okay, and now I'm going to spritz down my work surface with some water. And I'm going to take my dough ball here, make kind of a log, I guess. And I need about 93 grams each. Let's see. Okay. Okay, I'm going to come back and I'll show you after they're all weighed out. Okay, I'm back. I've got 12 equal parts here, buns that I need to roll up, and I have a well-greased 9x13 pan, and you can, if you have rice flour, you can do a little smattering across the bottom. If not, it's fine too. And I'm going to put this aside. Let's see, I'm going to show you how to do one of these. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet my surface, wet my hands. I'm going to just spread this out, do a little bit of stretch and fold, stretch and fold, stretch and fold, little mini ones. And then that. And then I'm going to do like a cupping of my hand just to build some surface tension, kind of like that. And that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm just going to place them in here. I'm going to go 3 across, 4 down, and then I'll catch you on the other side. Okay, now these are all shaped and placed in the pan. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some cellophane wrap, plastic wrap, And I'm going to cover these for, a couple hours until they about double in size. And then I'll show you how to prepare them to go into the oven after that. Okay? And so I'll see you in a few. Okay, I'm back. And as you can tell, these have puffed up and risen. It's been about a couple hours. I don't know if you can see that right there. And I'm going to take plastic wrap off. And I have some warmed up buttermilk, just a little bit. And I'm going to baste these right now. Boy, this is good and thick. I'm going to baste them across the top. Okay, that's about a quarter of a cup. Probably don't need quite as much, but better to have too much and not need it than not enough and need it. Anyhow, and to this I have mixed up, what is this? This is about, I don't know, it's about a quarter cup of all-purpose flour or bread flour and enough water to make a really thick gloppy paste. And I just put this in a snack-sized Ziploc bag, snipped a really small hole at the bottom, and now I'm going to make my crosses. Alright, and now in a preheated oven to 400 degrees, I'm going to place these, and immediately after I close that oven door, I'm going to drop it down to 350, and I am going to bake these for about 40 minutes. Conventional oven, if you have a convection, you could go about 30 minutes. I don't, so I'm going the conventional method at 40 minutes, and I will see you back when these come out of the oven. Okay. As you're waiting for your buns to get done in the oven, you can prepare your post-bake glaze, and that's going to consist of, well, you can make it two different ways. There's 1/3 cup water with about a tablespoon of brown sugar, or the method I'm using is about a tablespoon of maple syrup right here. I've already combined it. Tablespoon of syrup and a tablespoon of water, and you just mix it up till it's like a really thin syrup. And then you're going to baste it immediately across the tops of your hot cross buns as soon as they come out of the oven. So I'll show you how to do that when they come out of the oven. All right, see you in a few. Okay, just took them out of the oven. Kind of seems like my crosses have disappeared, but wait till I put the glaze on. I'm going to start doing that right now. These are fresh out of the oven. I'm just, can you hear that sizzle? You see, the crosses kind of come back. Oh, they smell so good. They've risen really nicely too. Just puts a nice shiny glaze on it. Kind of sticky, but that's okay. Just adds to the yumminess. And there we go. There are your hot cross buns for Easter. How do you like that? Ta-da! And I'll let you know in just a few after they've cooled down what they taste like. Okay, the verdict is in. Some of my finicky eaters actually like it. One's already gone, and I'm going to taste test one for you. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. Here's what the crumb looks like. They're really nicely enjoyed when they're warm. So I'm going to get some butter. I'm going to smear some butter on this. Get some more. I would imagine Kerrygold would even make this much yummier. Anyhow, so you can make these out of sandwiches. You want to put some turkey in there, sliced turkey or whatever, ham, whatever. And you make yourself a little sweet roll with it. Really yummy, like a sweet savory going on. Here we go. Oh, so good. So good. A little bit of tart or sour from the sourdough, but you get the orange and the cinnamon and the you know, the orange from the zest, and the cranberry tartness, the sweetness from the cherries and the raisins that soaked up the vanilla and the bourbon. And it's so moist, you guys. This is so good. Really try it. Yeah, it's a lot of work. I think all in all, I think it took about 24 hours from start to finish. But let me tell you something. It developed some great flavor. I made a batch of this a while back, and I rushed it. And I didn't allow it to ferment that long. They were like hockey pucks, guys. They were bad. I'm saving them for when my chickens get old enough to eat them. I'm putting them in the fridge. They were hockey pucks. These are winners. Winner. Well, can't say chicken dinner, but anyhow. Hope that you enjoyed this little tutorial, and I will put the recipe in the description box below, and shoot me a comment what you think of them. If you make them yourself, got any questions, ask them. Don't forget to share this, like it, subscribe to my channel. I hope to see you again sometime soon. Love you all. God bless you, and anyhow, enjoy eating more healthy.